So I'm Steve Vokers. This is Leadership Conversations with Megan and Steve. Megan is on your screen somewhere if you're watching with us. I don't, you're on the bottom corner for me, but I don't know what other people look like. So we have been doing this for a week now, right, Megan? And we're excited about this week ahead.
Yeah, very grateful.
So we have Jim Ayres on today at 3 o'clock, which is now, because we're Facebook Live, obviously now. And then we have two more guests coming up Tuesday and Friday. Megan, you want to introduce who those people are?
We have Sarah Howard, who is a labor attorney and has a whole bunch of other things that go along with that to talk about unemployment and some of the questions that we have there that everybody seems to have. And then we also have Tracy Wilson, who is the principal of Grand Haven High School, very large high school, and she's willing to come in and talk to us about the new normal in education and what that looks like right now. So
yeah, because it's spring break for us right now this week. I don't know about you, Megan, but my kids are in the backyard on the trampoline acting like spring break, but we're supposed to be in Wisconsin. I don't know what's different about spring break, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to be in Miami, so I ordered the shirt for Miami.
I got it.
Yeah, and I guess I'm the mean mom because I did have them still stay with the morning routine because I'm afraid of what happens if I pull them back out of this and then try to put them back in. So now they're outside being maniacs, but I don't know. What do you do, right? Like, it's not quite warm enough. We live by Lake Michigan. It's not quite warm enough that I can put them in a wetsuit, and maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe that's
they're kids. They're kids. We might get the sprinkler out. Let them have fun.
Why not?
So today we are obviously have our special guest, Jim Ayres. Thank you, Jim, for joining us. Jim is with Amway Corporation. I'll let him introduce sort of what his role is. But we're very grateful for you to take the time out, Jim, for us today. I know that you're a busy man. You guys have got a lot going on over at Amway right now. But can you tell us a little bit about who you are? And I know that brick wall, so I know where you're sitting, but other people might not know where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm in my great home office right in the middle of downtown Grand Rapids, all made possible by Steve.
Yay!
Helping Nancy and I find this wonderful place, which is about 120 years old. Great place to be. Yeah, thanks. And thanks for the invitation. It's great to be here with you guys. I've been at Amway actually 40 years. In March, it was 40 years right out of college at Grand Valley State. Today I am the managing director of Amway North America. Basically, that means that I run the North America business. That's U.S., Canada, Dominican Republic, the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. Most of my career, I've been at this position for 6 years. Prior to that, I was in research and development with science degrees. I've really had the opportunity at Amway to have a big global job where I had teams all over the world, traveled overseas pretty much every month for about 9 or 10 years before I came to this position. And it's been a heck of a ride. So considering the fact that it took me about 5.5 years to get out of Grand Valley, I'm doing okay.
Oh, it's so good. We just talked about that with Rochelle, right? Like, some of the smartest people aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest degrees, right? Oh, it's amazing how common sense can take you a long way sometimes, right? So, Jim, thanks for joining us. It's been an eventful couple weeks, but I know obviously in your world of Amway, I know you're focused on North America, but ultimately you're a global company. And so you started hearing and getting involved in this months ahead of time with your business within China. Can you give us any insight of like sort of how you then prepared the company for where it might be coming based on your experience a little ahead of the curve for a lot of us here locally?
Steve, I wish I could say that we did that and that I was smart enough to do that for North America. Nancy and I were just commenting last week that I think over dinner, and we thought, 4 weeks ago, we were in and finishing up a 2-week business convention where I worked, and Nancy went and accompanied me. 4 weeks ago, we were in Hawaii, completely oblivious to everything, and boy, how the world has changed. And I think that, we did see this coming, and the company certainly did, but that I don't know that we saw the global nature of it as big and as bad as it is back then. Certainly we get it now, but we were one of the early adopters of going to work at home. I lose track of how long it's been, but I know when we did it, I had some people in North America saying, boy, we're overreacting, you guys shouldn't be doing this. And nobody, after about a week, nobody was saying that anymore. So I'm really happy and proud that Amway has been an early adopter and this of the safety things that we've had to do for our employees and our business owners around the world, basically.
Yeah. How did you come to that decision, Jim? I think those are the things that people would love to hear about, how you came to that decision quickly to say, hey, let's, even before we're forced to, let's shelter in place, or let's move home office. I know that you have, you named off how many business owners you have in North America, let alone the corporate office kind of a thing. Like, I would assume you're deemed essential, right? Like, you guys are manufacturing products that we all could be using. I know that obviously your manufacturing maybe is still occurring, but how did you say, okay, office staff need to just hang out at home? Like, you guys got to get to work, but stay at home. How did that process unfold for you?
Yeah, that actually happened at the corporate offices. And, I guess the way I think about it is, like we have, if you ever go out to Ada and you go to Amway, we've got our founders fundamentals are in like concrete out in front of the building, and we've got our values plastered all over the place. And I think about it as it's really easy to do that, but you find out what your real values are when you hit a crisis. And this is one of the biggest, baddest crises that any of us have ever encountered in our lives. And you find out what your real values are. And I'm really happy to say that Amway's values are real, and we're living up to it as a company. And I couldn't be prouder of that. When it came to the work from home thing, we have like a site emergency or crisis team that involves, top executives of the company and certainly human resources and everything else. And they were evaluating the situation much more globally than I was, because I'm like pretty much focused on North America. That's my job.
Right.
I don't have the energy to pay attention to a heck of a lot in the other parts of the world. But looking at it globally, they saw what was coming. I think that they networked with, local authorities and across the United States as well, and just made the proactive decision that we needed to do that to protect our employees and our business owners. And then we took that in North America and translated that out to our hundreds of thousands of business owners in North America, and giving them guidelines and restricting certain things like big meetings and things like that, and kind of carried it over to them. And we do have, you mentioned essential, so we have manufacturing, of course, here in Ada, Michigan, and Grand Rapids area. We also have a large manufacturing facility in Southern California where we do most of our nutrition products and supplements. And in both places, we have essential, what are deemed as essential products. And so we have essential staff that are going in and still manufacturing and shipping those products which comply with mandates that have been given by local authorities, state authorities.
Right. So did you find that in that conversation as a leadership team or a crisis management team, I think you called it, was it also to directly give clarity to the small business owners that make up Amway, right? Like, because I think of that often as like, okay, what am I doing that then is leading my agents and my staff, and how do they see me acting? Could I deem myself essential to go do some things when I'm asking them to sit at home? Was that part of that process for you guys? And that leadership value add was like, okay, hey, if we don't do this, how do we make sure that our key business owners are doing this? Was that part of it or no?
Yeah, well, it was, the actually, the small business owners that we have, that was for me and my team. And it was essentially, I would say, carrying over the same principles of protecting people. And I would say that very clearly. The message that we have from all of Amway executives, and certainly from me and my team for North America to our employees and to our business owners, is that for the foreseeable future right now, business comes second. We say it all the time. We say it in all our communications. Business comes second. Take care of yourself. Keep your family safe. And we'll do what we can to help our business owners stay in business, get the products they need so they can sell them. Understanding that that's going to have some glitches the longer this goes on, but that's our goal. But we want to protect people first and foremost. And so if I get asked, I have been asked, I do on a pretty regular basis these kinds of things with all North America employees wherever they are in North America. And it's just, an hour and a half of Q&A basically. And I get asked about, how do I juggle work, and I'm here kind of stressed out with this crisis, and I've got kids that I got to take care of. And, my answer to that is pretty simple every time. Protect your family, take care of your family first. That's the priority. Once you do that, when it comes to your job, just do the best you can. That's all I'm asking. Just do the best you can. But it's second right now. And I think we're doing that around the world with everybody.
Well, I think that people feel that pressure all of a sudden, right? This like, okay, I'm completely different. I have 4 kids outside. One keeps on banging on the door thinking that he needs his bike right now, right? Like, so it's this weird space where it's like, okay, well, we're working, but the functionality is completely different, right? And so it's great to hear that you're sort of communicating that right up front as like, we're going to give you grace day one, right? We know that you're not going to perform at the level that you used to for us, but that's not our intent right now, right?
That's right. That's right. And just trying to keep things in perspective. Don't get stressed out, and keep the lines of communication open. One of the things that's worked for us in North America is that we formed we call it a rapid response team. Well, back probably a month ago now, actually, right when we were starting to go to work at home. And there are 8 of us. We meet first thing every day, even on the weekends, and we review because things are evolving rapidly, right? Things are changing all the time.
So fast.
And I've got on that team is the head of our public relations and our communications experts and other executives. And so every day we're evaluating the situation, what happened last night, what do we know now, and we turn that into what's the communication to our employees around North America today, what's our communication to our business owners in North America today. And we're doing that on a daily basis. We also have we do posts for our employees and our business owners every day as well. And, just things like from all over. I do a lot with the West Michigan Mental Health Foundation, where they put out some hints on keeping your mental health while you're going through this at home and the isolation. Well, we took that and posted it for everybody, right? I mean, just modifying your communications every day. And I think it gives people a sense of connection, that they know what's going on. And we've gotten very positive feedback on that. And that's just been a big focus for us. I think it's working quite well.
Yeah, smart.
Would you say that that's sort of the biggest shift that you guys have had over the last couple of weeks, is this idea of like consistent communication, clearly that's sort of real time? Like the speed of this thing is unreal, right? The change in speed. And so, once in a while you're good. You feel like you've got it. Like I said, I had a great 90-day plan. Then they came out with these small business loans, which is phenomenal. But like, then I'm spending days figuring out the small business loans because Sarah Gray says I got to get on that, and I'm not on that. And, so it's like this wheel of this consistent change, yet trying to balance, like, how do I find any consistency to that?
Right.
Is that morning meeting, you're being able to create some consistency in your life to say, okay, we're going to have this meeting, we're going to adjust to what we need to, but we're going to stay centrally focused on these topics?
Yeah, and our business owners, because every time we go out with a message, we're also reinforcing the principles, like I just said about business is second. I mean, just keep reinforcing, and to some extent, even though there's change, but be the voice of calm, right? And try to just reassure people, like, we're not going anywhere, we're okay. I think that's been a really big one. Of course, obviously, the biggest change for us is we're doing this constantly every day. We're doing remote work now for virtually everybody. And I've been actually impressed with how well that's gone. We use Zoom, and we also use Microsoft Teams. Kirsten and I were just talking about how lucky are we that we've got this technology. What a blessing. Can you imagine if we didn't have this technology? Where would we all be?
Somebody said last night in our small group, like, what would happen if this were the 80s? What would happen if this was Christmas? Like, what if we couldn't do this way? What a blessing. Yeah.
And trust me, I lived through the 80s. It was pretty tough.
So did we. We were just like 6.
But people have adapted very quickly, and this technology works great. We're having great meetings, and it's been pretty seamless. And when I think about, actually, I was just telling somebody this morning about me doing what I have to do in Canada or the Dominican Republic. It's actually a lot easier now, because if I go to Canada and stay overnight, or I go to the Dominican Republic for 4 days or a week, it's very disruptive for a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, everybody is remote. So the meetings I have with them through this technology are no different than the meeting I'm having with people in Grand Rapids. It's all the same thing. So it really, in a kind of a weird way, has been, quite a bit more efficient, to tell you the truth.
Huh.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I think Megan would say the same thing. Like, we wouldn't be able to do this typically with you and say, hey, Jim, like I did last week, Thursday, hey, can you do this thing with me on Monday? And you say, yeah, that works, because you would be booked out for months on end, right? But yeah, because of efficiency, we're able to do this and communicate to a lot of people so quickly. It's just, it's amazing the speed of it, right? Megan, did you have something?
No, I love that. And I mean, I think this idea, when Sarah was talking, I've used it with my team a lot. Like, virtual tours and things like that, I just said, if they open us back up, you better go shoot every house with every bit of information you possibly can, because a week later, something else could change, the curve could change, and then we are non-essential again. So I am excited to hear business owners say that this is, that we're becoming more efficient, and we're paying attention to what's necessary, and streamlining some of these processes. I can't imagine at a global scale like Amway, but.
That's a great point. And I just, I think that this event is so big and global that it will change our lives in ways we can't anticipate right now.
Right.
I really do. I don't think this is just a flash in the pan thing and then it's just going to go away. I think it'll change the way we look at the world in some ways. One of those ways, I think, will be working remotely and working at home. I don't think, at least for us, I don't foresee that going to the office will stop happening, but I think the balance of that will change, because I think we're proving right now that we can do this, and we can do it without, in my mind, at least for most jobs. It probably depends on the job and the setting and things like that, but in a lot of cases, we're proving this is very efficient. And there may be some jobs where somebody needs to be on site 100% of the time. Of course there will be, but for a lot of workers, I think that it might be the new normal of, in a week, you might go into the office a couple days for some big team things or something, and then the rest of the time you're at home working remotely. I don't know, but I expect that that's a paradigm that's going to change as a result of this. It seems that way.
Yeah, I also like the change of the realness and transparency that's come from this, right? Like, I'm in my garage. There's nowhere else for me to be, right? Like, and you're in your home office, and Megan's in her home office, right? But there's this, we did a video tour of a new listing that I had yesterday, and the seller did the video tour. And we just did it, right? And she's on Facebook Live, and she pans up to her ceiling, and she's like, "That's that kind." And she blanked on the kind of ceiling she had, right? And it was an expensive ceiling, but you know, it was this fancy tongue and groove thing, all trimmed out, right? But I think it added actually to the video that it was transparent and real. Instead of, yes, I'm a really good at marketing. I can shoot really good pictures. We can set stuff up. But I think like we are starting to feel this need for this more. Like, how do we become more real, more transparent? And so you break down those barriers so quickly in who people are, because there's not the politics in it. I don't have time for the politics of it or the fanciness of it, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and along those lines, it's not just the difference in the directness and the realness of it, which is kind of unexpected to me, but I agree with you. The other thing is just, it's really making us kind of eliminate a lot of bureaucracy. So like in the old world, like 2 months ago, if I was going to do a communication to the field, it would probably take us a day or two to kind of put that together. We all agree on it, whatever, and get it out there. Maybe if it was urgent, we could, like really urgent, we could do it quite a bit quicker. But now, this team that I talked about in the morning, we decide we're going to do something, man, that thing's out. We don't have all these steps and bureaucracy and approvals and all that. And it's much more direct. And it's, you know, we look at it, everybody agrees, and boom, we go. And it's kind of refreshing in a way. I think it's another thing for us to learn from, of the more directness of what we're doing in this situation, and just less layers of bureaucracy, which don't add any value in the end.
Right. Yeah, I always have, Seth Godin talks about ship it, the idea of like shipping stuff, and the first person to market usually wins because they can change quickly that thing that they brought to market, instead of trying to spend all the time. And I know you're a research and developer, but so many hours in research and development that you don't actually get the product out there, and then you don't change it as you go along. You know, Kevin and Kirsten at my office, which are watching, would always laugh at me. I'm like, just send it out. And, you know, there'd be spelling errors, of course, because I'm dyslexic. And then someone would say something and we'd correct it really quickly. I don't have anybody caring about my dyslexia or my spelling errors right now. I kind of like it, you know, like,
That's great.
It's okay. Speed is just as important right now, or more important than being correct all the time. Not that we don't want to fact check, and not that we don't want to make sure that we're communicating in the right messaging, but it, you know, it's like, again, this might have had to go through some legal person to say, is it okay that Jim's having this conversation with us? Maybe it did, but I think those are the kinds of things that we're moving fast on this stuff.
Exactly.
And it's just like, hey, we all know that the grace is there, so just keep going.
Yeah. Exactly.
Jim, can you, I know that you've done some pretty amazing stuff here locally in Grand Rapids, which is really the sort of the hand sanitizer sort of conversation that we saw on the news a week and a half ago, and you know, changing and adjusting so quickly to the needs that are out there, where Spectrum, I believe, and you can correct me, called, and I know that there was one of the engineers on the project that's wife was at Kids Food Basket that said, hey, we're running low on hand sanitizer. Can you do something for us? And from my understanding, you took an old recipe off the shelf 15 years ago and said, I guess we can, let's do something with it. Can you, I think that speaks to like the innovation and creativity and speed of which you guys did something. Can you speak to how that came about, and like why you made some of the decisions you did in that process?
Yeah, you know, to some extent, I was not involved in the genesis of this. Like you said, it was from a few of the employees that got connected and got the request. For me, it really, you know, I don't want to sound like I'm like doing a sales pitch for HamWay, but I'm proud of it because for me it represents just our great employees and the culture that we have there and the values that we have there. Like I said before, that they got so energized around the opportunity to try to make this happen, and they quickly, overcame obstacles of, do we have the right stuff? Do we have the right packaging? What can we do to make it work? What about the labels? All these people came together and just figured out how to get it done. And then, really example, if marketing had said, okay, we want to launch a hand sanitizer, it probably would have taken us a year to develop it, make it, and launch it. Right? We did this in like a few days, and just with creativity and just everybody being so motivated to make it happen. And then, the decision that we made as a company that,
So Jim,
what can we do with this?
Jim,
Yes.
Can you, not everybody's seen the news article, so can you explain what you did before you get into like, then what did you do after? Because I know we're
Yeah, so
like,
the company, yeah, sure. So this was a product that that we've had in the past, but we basically got the formula for this hand sanitizer product. The engineers and manufacturing people and R&D people and everybody figured out how to put, and we had, I think, a lot of these materials that were in inventory and stock that we could use. And I don't know the great details of that, but this is basically what happened. I don't think they had the original packaging, so they figured out to get a package that would work, and whatever we had, they put that together, made the right labels that were all, legal and compliant and everything, and just started making it. And I don't really want to quote the number of units that we've made, because I'm an educated guess, but it's in the hundreds of thousands. And I know that they're making more even. And so the team just came together of motivated employees to do that. And then the decision was, okay, what do we do with it? And, we had options of we could put it out for our business owners, which would be a great thing to do. We could donate it locally.
Or them to donate?
No, we would donate it. We wouldn't sell it. It'd be a donation for them as well. But the fact is that we have so many, that's even in we're talking North America here, that's a huge number of people, 350,000 in North America. And and we just didn't have that kind of capacity. So, we just thought, we can make a much bigger impact donating it here locally. And of course, all of it, Amway's a long-standing community partner here, as we all know, and it just seemed to everybody like, man, that's the right decision to make, and the need was great, and we're all just so happy and proud that we did it and we're able to do it. I'm proud of the employees that made it happen, and as you know, we've donated it to a number of organizations. I don't know them all, but I know for sure Spectrum, I know Mel Trotter, and I think there are a number of others that we've donated this now to missions and healthcare facilities. And we'll continue to do that, I believe, as long as we can through this crisis. So, and the great thing is a number of those organizations have made just kind of iPhone videos saying thank you, that we've been able to send back to the employees that made this happen. And there's essential employees that are going into work now making this kind of stuff, and I know that it means the world to them to get that feedback from the community, and just gives them a real sense of inspiration and purpose. And we're all just so pleased that we're able to make it happen. And again, not me, it's those great employees that really represent Amway so well and are such great partners in the community.
Yeah, I love the concept of it in general, what the need is, you move quickly to the need, you fill it out. But I also think like the need was there, but it just reiterated, like you said, the values that you put in place, however many years ago that was, as a corporate structure. And then also when you're talking to all your affiliated businesses, all your 350,000 employees, if you would, or business owners that fall underneath your proxy, like that, it just reiterated the same thing of your culture, right? Like, we're innovation, we're creation, we're creating something new, and we're giving to our community. And so that idea of taking care of your family first, it was like, that's what you guys ultimately did. It was like, okay, our families corporately are in Grand Rapids. We're going to feed that as we're then hoping to build and feed more, right?
Yeah, and what you make me think about too, Steve, is just and it's great for anybody running a business, regardless of what size it is, to the extent that you can get the people in your company to have a real sense of, right? And we're lucky at Amway because the way the whole thing is designed is that we don't sell anything. Our business owners sell things. And so, it's pretty much universal across the employees of the company that we see ourselves as our purpose. Our jobs exist to help those small business owners be successful. So just by the nature of the way the business works, we all know that our jobs are about helping other people be successful, which is a really powerful thing. That's why I'm still there after 40 years. It gets me out of bed in the morning. And, we're not worried about selling product of course we have to worry about profitability and COI and all that stuff, but that's really not what we think about as employees. We think about helping other people. And, I think that's how this kind of stuff happens, just kind of organically. And I think that, to the extent that anybody out there that's leading a business of, like I said, whatever size it is, the more you can figure out what that purpose and mission is and the difference you make in people's lives, and get people connected to that, it's super powerful.
Yeah, I love the innovation piece that's coming out of it. And, my kids were grabbing socks because they saw something on YouTube yesterday about how they could make face masks. And they come out and they've got smart wool socks. And I'm like, whoa, those are the pricey socks. Like, could we try on like a Hanes before you go straight to the smart wools? But I think that in the idea that we're not all, some of us are still working as we were before, but just this space to be able to think for a second instead of being so reactionary. There was a gap for somebody there where they went, okay, I'm an Amway employee, but how do I help everybody right now with the resources that I have? And if everyone could kind of dip into that space, like, what is that amazing idea that you've shoved to the back burner because you haven't had time to be able to think about it? Or, are we truly showing up with the mission that we would have inside of our value statement via our hands? Like somebody put that in their hands and then shoved it out there. And that's the part that's cool. The idea became a thing. That is beautiful.
And that also, because you are leading 350,000 people in like what to do, how are you communicating what's next? So you're communicating the now, which is keep your family safe, make sure you guys are safe, and then, keep I know you use sort of the favorite 5 every morning of your sort of rhythm. How are you helping them think like, okay, when, if we hit the peak, which some are saying might be this week, might be next week, whatever that might be, how are you helping them think about when we get off of that peak and are sort of back to what we would deem as the new normal? It'll never be the same, but this idea of like, how are you preparing those 350,000 people to say, okay, here's the now, but if you do these things, you can set yourself up for success in 3 weeks or a month or 2 months from now? Are you guys even in that space yet, or is that yet to come for you in that conversation?
Well, yes and no. So I am. We're not doing really any speculating with people on how long this will be. As a company, we have extended our work at home till April 30, and then, like everybody, we're just monitoring it and we're going to react accordingly. So. I think there's differing views on how long it'll last. I tend to think it's going to last longer than we think, but neither here nor there. We're just focusing on what we need to do right now. I am engaging, my team and I are engaging a lot of our business owners, though, still in the, thinking about the future. So for us, our business year with our small business owners, our independent Amway business owners, starts September 1st. So we are talking about September 1st a lot of new products we're going to have in place, new programs we're going to have in place, maybe some digital tools we're building. All that work continues. Probably not on the same time frame that it was before we're doing this, but it all continues, and we're trying to keep everybody focused on the future and where we've got to go in September. And as we get into 2021, what do we need to be doing to be growing and successful? Assuming that, the whole global economy is everybody for the most part is taking a hit out of this. And, we're thinking about how we're going to get back on track get everybody growing, and work to support them and build everything is not slowing down. We're keeping that going. So it's kind of a little bit of both. But I think one of the therapeutic things is, you know, it's a combination right now of, like you said, slow down a little bit. Don't be worried about being super productive. And I'd like, do the best you can. But also plan for the future. Start thinking about the future, and don't get consumed by the now crisis that's here. And let's think about where we're going to be down the road, and prepare for that and plan for it. I think that's kind of therapeutic.
Jim, would you mind sharing, like, what are you doing personally to make that happen, right? So you're leading so many people. You're on the Zoom call with your sort of response team. I'm sure you're working just as much hours, if not more, it feels like, at different times. It's just a different kind of work now. I've said that to Megan after we get done with these phone calls. I feel like I need to take a nap. I'm so, like, because there's so much you put into this, right? Like, you get pretty exhausted, right, with all these Zoom calls. So can you help us just, even as we probably start thinking of wrapping up here, like, how are you making sure that you're mentally and physically healthy, that you can then lead others? Like, what are you doing the exact same thing that you always done? Or are you starting to say, like, yep, every morning I'm going to do this, every afternoon or evening I'm going to do this, to make sure that I stay the best leader I can, and not be susceptible to failing at this idea of being a good leader?
Well, I think that's a great question, a great point, a great thing to talk about, because, you know, I think it's pretty obvious that to lead anybody successfully, you have to take care of yourself first. I kind of live by that, and I you know, preach about it. We talk with it and our leadership teams about it a lot, and actually with all of our employees. I always tell them three things. I've been doing it for years. First thing is take care of yourself. Second thing is take care of each other, and the third thing is execute with excellence every day. But it starts with take care of yourself. If you're not at your best mentally, physically, spiritually, you can't be your best for your family. You can't be your best for your job or your work, or your teammates, and you can't be your best for your community. So it all starts there. And I got to tell you, for me, that's been the most difficult thing. I am a creature of habit. I'm a big believer in habits in life. I'm still struggling with adjusting my habits. For a couple of years now, I have been getting up at 3:45 every day. I'm in the gym by 4:30. I work out for an hour and a half. I sleep until 6 on the weekends, but I'm doing that every day. 3:45, go to the gym. I can't do that now, and that has been really difficult for me. So I'm, trying to I get up now at, say, 4:30. Like, I got up at 4:30 this morning and went for a run outside because the weather's pretty nice. But I'm trying to adapt for the first time to, like, TV workouts, which I find really kind of weird and, I don't know, difficult, and trying to do yoga. And by the time I figure out what the guy's doing, he's on to the next one. And it's just like,
Amen.
It's just not the same. And then the other thing is, I'm very regimented, Nancy and I, in our eating habits and everything. And I'm used to being at work and the cafeteria is a long ways away. Well, now I'm 30 feet from all this stuff. And so I admit I'm still trying to work on that and get my new habits down for this. But I think it's super important. I don't think it's good to stress about it. And I've read a lot of things about how to be healthy right now. And a big thing is give yourself, because it is going to be hard in a lot of ways, and you're just not going to be the same that you were before. And that's okay. But I think one of the most important things we all can do is it's get those new habits going and make sure that I am taking care of myself first and foremost. And that's going to enable me to be my best. And if you don't do that, I think it's not healthy for anybody.
Do you usually work out alone?
You mean not with a partner? Yes, always. Nancy and I go to the gym together, and I give her a lot of credit. I mean, imagine that you retired early. So you're retired. She takes care of grandkids a lot. She gets out of bed at 3:45 with me and goes to the gym, which I find amazing. But at the gym, I mean, there's people there, but I'm always working out on my own. I have my own workouts. I know what I do and what's good for me that I've developed over the years, and that's what works for me. I'm not really someone that does classes work for a lot of
No,
people.
I just
as well.
I've talked to a few people, like I'm completely non-motivated unless someone is making me do something. My mother's an Army colonel. I don't know if that's what it is or what, but like I get down there and I'm like, la, 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 la. Oh, what's on the TV? Oh, it's warm. Let's open the door. Like, I mean, it's just sad.
So my answer to that is habits, man. I'm back to that. So there have been times like Monday mornings, I go to the gym, I do like an hour of sprint intervals on a treadmill, which are unbelievably difficult. I dread it. And I'll wake up on a Monday morning, not infrequently, or I did when I'm going to the gym, and I'm like, I'm not doing that today. I'm going to do something else. I don't want to do that. I don't want the pain. I don't want to deal with it. And I go there, I go to the locker room, I get changed, and guess what? I realize 10 minutes later, I'm on the treadmill doing sprint intervals.
Right.
I didn't even think about it. It's just my habit, and that's how I get through it.
Yeah.
Have you, Jim, created any new habits from this experience? Because Megan knows, like, I have never run in complete life. I don't even know what it looks like, according to my wife. So I put on my shoes and said, I'm going for a run about 2.5 weeks ago. And she literally said, do you know what that looks like? And I said, well, I've seen it on TV or seen people pass me when I'm driving. So I think I know what it looks like. On me, I have no idea. So I've run maybe 8 to 10 times in the last 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks. And so I'm trying these new things. I don't love it. It's just something I'm trying, right? I'm trying to find the new habits, right? Are you finding that you're just saying, okay, here, like, nope, I'm just going to give grace. I don't have anything. Or are you starting to think of, okay, what is my new habit? How am I creating it?
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to create new habits throughout the time I get up consistently every day. I will tell you that I've never done Pilates before. I'm doing Pilates twice a week now. Woohoo! Who would have thought? I go through easily a case of sparkling water a day now. That's a big habit that I'm setting here on the phone all day, and I've got to be drinking this stuff constantly. Well, the exact same thing. That's mango, right?
I'm like an addict. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's mango. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, just constantly. And the other thing, actually a new thing that I started doing, which again will make me sound like an old guy that I'm doing it now, but is that I really have just started doing a lot of YouTube. I get bored with TV. I don't want to sit and watch TV. I mean, I read a lot every day. It's one of my 5 habits. I read every day. But I've found that I can find so much really cool stuff from history that I'm interested in that I can watch on YouTube. I've been doing that more and more. That's probably something I'll keep doing after this is over. I'm really enjoying it.
I want to know about these 5 habits. Is that
Steve, do you have 5 minutes? Can I do that or no?
Yeah. Let's do that, and then I think we're good, and then we'll wrap it down. So
okay.
I think that's a great way to sort of finish with that.
Okay.
Right here, though.
Did she leave or is she coming back?
She's so focused. She laughed for a moment. There she is.
Okay. So this is something that I shamelessly stole. This was from an Amway business owner I saw speak probably 7 years ago. Right as I was moving into this position, I left my R&D job and came to this business leadership job. And it's called the Power of 5. I don't know who invented it or where it actually came from, but I was so taken by it that I started doing it the very next day, and I've done it every single day since, without exception. And here's the idea that imagine, and this is about accomplishing something, right? So imagine that you are in the redwood forest of the Northwest, and you are standing in front of a tree, a redwood tree that's 200 feet high and 20 feet across. And your objective, or what you've been told is your objective or your goal, is to chop that tree down. And all you have is an axe. Most people will look at the tree and look at the axe and they'd go, this is crazy. There's no way. I can't do this. And they'd put the axe down and they'd walk away and they'd never even start. The idea of this is, don't do that. Instead, pick the axe up and just hit the tree 5 times. All you got to do is hit it 5 times with the axe, put it down, and go about your day. But you pick up the axe, hit the tree 5 times, put it down, go about your day. Do it a third day, do it the fourth day, do it the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Just keep doing that 5 times a day, every day. And I guarantee you, eventually that tree will fall over. I think that's a powerful concept. And it speaks to big goals that we often have that we never get started in because they seem so impossible and so intimidating. Power of 5 says, whatever your goal is, what are the 5 things that you can do every single day to accomplish your goal? And if you do those 5 things, you will get there. And for me personally, I started doing it the next day. My goal is to be, it has been for 7 years now, to be the best leader I can be for not only for my position at Amway, but for my family and for my community. So my 5 things are, I read every single day. I'm not talking emails. I read something every single day to keep me mentally sharp. I exercise in some way every single day to keep me physically fit and energetic. The third thing is that I learn something new every single day to keep me in a learning frame of mind, looking for things new that I can learn that will expand my capacities and my skill set. The fourth thing is that, and I think this is really important as a leader, is that I make sure that I encourage at least one every single day, hopefully more, at least one person. I encourage somebody every single day, which keeps me looking for people doing things right. Too often we fall into the trap of looking for people screwing things up. Look for people doing things right and encourage them. Help people feel positive. And the last one is, I do a thankfulness exercise every day. What's one thing that I am thankful for today? Usually different every day. And I'm pretty fanatical about these. I have I'm a write it down kind of guy. So here's my stuff for today. And I've got those 5 things written here. My power of 5, I've already done exercise, and I've already done my thankfulness. I write it down at the end of the day, every day without fail. What did I learn today? Who did I encourage today? What was I thankful for today? And what did I read? And what was my workout? And for me, this is, again, habits. I just do it every single day. And I think it's had just a great effect on me. And I think it helps me be the best leader I can be, like I said, for my family, for my community, or for my job.
I love that. I love the intention behind it too, and that it's personal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
In coaching that, Jim, or as you tell people, you ask them to pick their own 5 based on their goal then, right? So those are your 5 to be the best leader. But if I want to be the best at whatever that thing is, it's the 5 that help chop the tree down for my goal.
Exactly.
And your tree was being the best leader.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's totally personal. But the idea is, whatever your big goal is, whether it's to get an MBA or a high school diploma, whatever the heck it is that you come up with, or something with your church, who knows what it is, but pick that goal that you just haven't made progress to, and then do the steps of, what are 5 things I can do every day that are going to make me closer to that goal every single day? And yeah, you'll get there. You just keep doing it, be persistent, and make them habits. You'll get there. I think it's a pretty powerful concept. Simple. I love simple, powerful concepts. I think that's a very simple, powerful concept, and it certainly works for me.
Yeah, even the analogy of the redwood, just like, and I've heard these kind of things forever, right? This idea of like, have goals, do your reading, do your exercise, but never the concept of chop down the tree and 5 chops equal the tree will fall eventually, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we could close with that, because I don't think we can get much better than finishing with that.
That's all I got, man. I'm tapped out.
It's
more than enough. Megan, do you have anything you want to close with?
No, I do want to show you, this is my favorite artistry Amway product. It came from my friend Brandy Heiser.
Lighted lip gloss.
Yeah, Brandy Heiser gave this to me, who works for you all.
I know Brandy very well. Worked with her a lot.
I couldn't love her anymore. Her friend, or her sister Jenna, was in my Bible study 20 years ago, and it has a light.
I know.
So all my
it's our product.
Oh, this guy doesn't have a light. And so I'm like, oh, because when we're in the club, you know, like all my friends aren't in the club. So if you want to really
Megan,
awesome
you're in the
Amway
club all the
products,
time.
grab this bag.
I see that.
Love
Perfect.
it. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much for the opportunity, guys. I really, really appreciate it. And kudos to you for trying something new and doing this. I think that this is going to get momentum and get legs. And I hope you get more and more people that are participating and listening. And I will try to do that myself, because I think this has a great potential to really spread a lot of really great ideas and get a lot of momentum. Thanks for doing it.
Personally, you were a huge blessing to me. And I'm
Oh,
going to
thank
talk
you.
to my little boys about the 5. I kind of feel like that's a Corona-cation survival kit. So if we come away with that alone, you know, what are the 5 things that you're going to focus on each day in order to move through this space? What a beautiful gift to all of us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Everybody stay safe. Yep. Great talking to you.
All right.
Thank you so much for participating, and thanks to all that have watched. Again, we have 2 more coming up, Tuesday and Friday. Tune in, and we can't be more grateful for all the people to spend time with us. Thank you. I'm Steve, Megan, and Jim just left, so we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Bye.